Oh, I'm Milton Metz from WHAS. I seem to get all the good assignments because tonight it's my pleasure to introduce Miss Kentucky of 1980, Daphne Cochran, who's a junior at the University of Louisville. And here we are, Daphne, in this grand presidential suite of the Galt House in downtown Louisville. Presidents have stayed here, probably presidents will stay again. Now we have you with your tiara. It happens to be, as we record this, rather early in the day, and I get the impression that you are rather proud of that tiara, the crown that you sport so lovely on your head.
Yes, I am.
You sleep in it too, do you?
No, it'd be a little rough. I am very proud of it. I've worked hard for it. I've spent about 3 years in the pageants, working with the wonderful people that I've had to deal with, and it's given me a lot of personal pleasure as well as the doors that's opened for me.
You know, many Mrs. Kentucky and Mrs. America have aspired to and become very well known as actresses, as spokespersons, and as accomplished people in the public eye. Yet, it has become fashionable lately, in recent years, to knock the so-called pageants and beauty contests. Now, I know that the Miss America pageant is not a beauty contest, but beauty, obviously, looking at you, is a part of it. What about the rap that beauty and pageant entrants get from some of the public?
Well, I think right now there are a lot of people that are trying to produce pageants, so-called beauty pageants. The Miss America affiliation is the only one that I know of that deals with scholarship only. There's no cash, to my knowledge, flowed back and forth between contestant winner and the pageant program. The beauty contest...
What do you mean, no cash that goes back?
What I mean is all the money that I receive, if I win, as I win Miss Kentucky, and whoever wins Miss America, does not receive cash. They receive scholarship money, which I have not seen. It goes, the bills that I get from school goes directly to the Miss Kentucky program, and they pay for my schooling, for my education, wherever I decide to go in the state of Kentucky. And but there are quite a few pageants that I know of, beauty contests,
Right.
that deal with cash, and the winners receive, cash money. And I think that's right now coming up. I've heard of more, I think, each year.
On the other hand, Miss America never picks a crone for a winner.
Not that I know of, but there again, it's in the eyes of the beholder. Someone that you think is very gorgeous and very pretty may not be pretty to someone else in their eyes. So it's sad, but it really depends on the 8 judges who
When
you're
you
talking
assembled with the 50-plus young ladies in Atlantic City, what was the thing that surprised you the most about that encounter?
I think it's that each girl felt that, just like I did, deep down inside, and they showed it. They showed their excitement on being there, and their realization and unrealization that, can you actually believe, that I'm here, that I'm doing this, that all the little girls and all the people in the United States are watching, this thing. And I can remember as a child, sitting there watching it and wondering, do you think I could ever be there? And then you be there. And the girls in the Miss America pageant were not snotty or they didn't put each other down, which you so often hear, and nobody can really tell you, no, they aren't, because you've never been there.
There was no jealousy, Daphne?
Not that I know of. I think there is a lot of hardship within yourself, when you don't reach your goal that you think you should. And I think there's always that kind of disappointment in any kind of competition, but not bitterness towards another girl or the girl who won or any of the top 10 contestants. I think the thing that thrilled me the most was the night we were, Saturday, when you saw the performance live. The girls were backstage at the convention hall from 7:15 in the morning, and we weren't allowed to leave. We rehearsed all day long, and then the show was broadcasted at, I think, 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
And we went on stage at about 9:30, 9:35, and the top 10 was announced. And the girls that didn't, the 40 girls that didn't make the top 10, we all came backstage, and when the top 10 came back, there wasn't a girl there that didn't clap for her, that didn't say, "Can we help you?" You know, and it was a genuine feeling of, well, you now represent me, so you go out and do your best, and you represent me. And I think that in itself was the most thrilling thing to me going up there.
There was good feeling.
Oh, yes.
Do you ever encounter this, and I don't want to be negative about this, getting back to a point I'd made before about some people looking down their noses at this type of pageant, even the granddaddy of them all, the one that you were in, that any peers of yours have ever said, "Oh, I couldn't put myself on display, I couldn't do that." How do you do that, Daphne?
Sure. There's a lot of people that don't understand, you know, why I do it or why I did it. But all I can say to them is, you've got to go and you've got to do it. To actually feel it's like a performance, like you when you go in front of the camera. You know, why do you do it? But it's so much. It's a thrill for me.
Right.
Just to perform, just to be there and see, you know, watching other people happy to see me do what I'm doing.
How do you cope with, you know, if you see your name on the marquee or on the newspaper, Daphne Cochran, Miss Kentucky 1980?
It's really a shock to me to see that, because I never thought as a kid ever getting, you know, really anywhere. And so it's an extra, it's an unbelief right now.
When you were growing up, did your grandma and your aunts, your mother Mimi say, "Oh, pretty girl, pretty girl"? I mean, did you grow up knowing that you were an unusually lovely young lady?
No, because I don't think I was. I was a tall, all legs kid that was short hair and, you know, real skinny. I don't think I was ever pretty as a kid.
You weren't particularly spoiled and babied?
No. No, I had to fight just like my other two sisters.
What are they like?
They're great.
What's
They're
your family life like?
It's a neat and very open family. I think our family, you know, it's, as I look back at it now, I can't believe, you know, that friends of mine, their relationship with their family is so closed, you know, and like, my sisters are completely different from what I am, my personality, and I have two sisters, one older and one younger, and I'm smack dab in the middle. And my family is very, very together and supportive of whatever we wanted to do.
What does your father do?
My father's a veterinarian and wonderful doctor. And
If anybody, I don't, if anybody gets ill in the family, I know he takes care of animals. But if there's not a doctor around, and your dad is a vet,
we go to him first. and sometimes he goes, "Please don't."
Jokes,
right? You know, he knows what's going on, and if
he knows anatomy.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we're supposed to be some kind of an animal. Why not? I suppose.
That's right. Well, I figure they've got to research on them first, right? So if it's good for them, I guess.
What do you do around the house? Do you have, even though you're a full-time student and a full-time Miss Kentucky, do you have some menial chores?
Oh, sure. I've got to pick up the house just like everybody else.
Right.
And I enjoy a lot of things.
Did you have a permissive childhood?
No, I don't think so.
Was it highly restrictive?
No, I think it's just like, well, I look at my other two sisters, and I was so different from them that each family, I think, has a rebel, and that was my older sister, so we learned from her, and they let us do just about what we really wanted to do if they agreed with it, if my parents agreed with it.
How was your sister a rebel? What do you mean by that?
Oh, she was like, she was the one that always said, I'm not going to do that, you know. She was the one that stood up for what she, you know, really wanted to do, and I give her a lot of credit for it, you know, because I think my father's a little more conservative than my mother, and but on the real bad things, my dad reverses. You know.
The real bad things?
Well, I think the things that you really want to do, you know, and you don't go to your mom, you go to your dad.
They say that dads, I don't have any girls, so I can only tell what I've heard, that fathers who have girls, especially pretty girls, are very protective of them and maybe subliminally jealous of any young man who calls on them. Thinking subconsciously or consciously,
Right.
this guy is not good enough for my girl.
I think that's true. Yes, I think so.
Does he look at him with a pretty good eye, the young
Yes.
men who call on you?
Yes, he does. He really enjoys who I date, and he really likes him a lot. I think my dad tries to get to know the person first. Now, if he makes us upset, then the guy's in trouble. But otherwise, he's really nice to the guys that come, and date
Has
us.
your father influenced you in your opinions of certain young men who've dated you in the past?
No. He never said, I like this one over this
Right.
one, or, watch out for this one because, he's like that. No. He's let us make our mistakes, which I think is neat now.
How serious a student are you at the University of Louisville?
Pretty serious. I'm trying to get my degree. It's a little rough traveling as much as I have and going to classes, but I put everything I have into what I'm doing.
You're majoring in education. Have you done any
Elementary.
practice teaching?
No, I haven't, not as a student, but when I was younger, from about the age of 13, I was working with children. I was a diver and a swimmer growing up, and so I worked with the small kids teaching swimming and diving, and I guess I've worked with kids from 9 months old to around 16.
How are your grades?
They're pretty good. They're getting better. And that's something for me because I had difficulty in school and growing up. And I'm very proud to say that I'm making, above average grades.
Yes, what did you tell me? You had a problem.
Yes, I had a learning disability when I
Right.
was growing up. And the teachers and the counselors, when I was growing up in elementary school and in high school, told my parents that I would never graduate from high school, that I couldn't do it. And my dad, bless his soul, he got me through it, and he said, you're no dummy, and you can do what you want to do. And he got me.
It was a
him and my parents.
dysfunction. It was not
Right.
any mental process.
It was a dyslexia. It was a form of dyslexia, which when I was younger, wasn't very well known. And luckily, I had gotten a tutor who worked with the handicapped, mentally and physically handicapped children. And she, from working with these kids, in 2 weeks' time working with me, said, this child's a little bit dyslexic. I don't know in what degree she is, but let's work with her. And I can remember her working with, it's a dysfunction in the hand and eye coordinations and not being able to grasp what you are reading.
Right.
And there's a blockage there, and she worked with me really hard and finally was able to get going again. It was like I guess they caught it when I was in 3rd, 4th grade.
And you've mastered that, which
Right.
is to your credit.
Mhm.
Obviously, as Miss Kentucky, you do a lot, as you mentioned, a lot of traveling. You meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
Has this sharpened your ability to make judgments
Oh,
better
yes.
than in the past about people?
Yes.
Can you tell real people from, say, artificial, superficial folks that come across your path?
Yes, pretty much so. I can't say altogether yes right now, but it has broadened my perspective on people. And but I'm the type of person that never wants to think bad about any person that I meet, and sometimes I can't. Sometimes I can't see through people. I'm just as vulnerable as,
Right.
as the next person, but I think experiences.
Right.
Something happening with the people, I think that's what opens your eyes.
What kind of person do you like?
I like a very honest person. Someone that is going to not hesitate in telling you how they feel or, what they're thinking.
Speaking about asking you questions, one gets the impression from watching many of these pageants not excluding the Miss America pageant, that some young ladies give safe answers, that they're afraid perhaps, and this may be only in the eye of the beholder or the mind of the beholder, that they're afraid they might say something controversial even though they believe strongly in it?
I think you've got to have some reserve in what you say. Not so much in the locals, okay? Like before you go to Miss Kentucky, you have got to win a local pageant, okay? This weekend's the Miss Louisville pageant. And the girls, there are 23 girls that compete. And whoever wins this local pageant goes on to Miss Kentucky. And then Miss Kentucky goes on to Miss America. And I think at the local levels, there is no reserve. I think most of the girls...
By no reserve, you mean they'll speak out frankly?
Right. When they go on to Miss Kentucky, you've got, in your interviews, you have 5 judges, which, and this is through experience too, when you're first going into them, you do have a reserve to you. You're not sure on, well, you know, what, I'm not sure if I can say that.
Right.
Or...
Say you had strong feelings for or against, say, a controversial thing like the ERA.
Right.
And you really were sincere about whichever viewpoint you had. Would it inhibit you if you thought, well, those judges may be not in agreement with that?
Right.
Would that be compromising a woman's standard who changed and softened her answers to a difficult question?
I think you're talking there about going on to Miss America.
Yes.
Okay, and the Kentucky pageant people told me when I won Miss Kentucky, they said, we want you to have an opinion about anything. We don't care what your opinion is, just as long as you feel strongly with it and you can back it and you feel, you know, that way about it. So in that respect, they're saying, you be yourself. You know, we want you to, you know, really fight for what you believe in, and we don't want any...
Don't hold back.
Don't hold back. Because I don't think, when you go into a judge's interview, we had 7 judges. Tom Snyder, Janet Langhart, all these people. And they're going to see through. I mean, they're not dumb.
You mean if you
and
give a
pussycat
pussycat answer, they'll know?
Right. And if, I think sometimes a question's asked where you honestly have to say, I have no opinion. I've never thought about that before, you know. And they respect that, I think. But to answer your question, yes, I think there is some. I think you've got to, I think the girls feel that they've got to sometimes kind of soften their answers a little. But in experience, they'll learn that they don't have to.
Getting back to the other young ladies that you met and for the most part liked, were there some who gave you the impression that they'd spent all their lives being entrants in beauty contests from Little Miss Lollipop all the way up to Miss Utah or whatever?
I was surprised because the majority of the girls hadn't. The majority of the girls had, for example, Miss Alabama, who was first runner-up in Miss America. She was 18 years old. She'd never been in a pageant before. Her parents had kind of encouraged her to go into it because she's super talented. She's a ventriloquist and can do 3 songs at one time you know, and but her parents thought she won't win Miss Alabama with 54 contestants, you know, her first year in. There's just no way. Well, she did. And it kind of blew them.
And she'd never been
in one. No. Not that I know of.
Now, had there been some who had been through all the stages?
Sure. And someone looking at me probably thinks that, well, you know, this is her 3rd year, you know, in the pageants, and they probably thought that I geared for this, but I think each girl has their own story on how they got interested in the pageants, and mine's just as different and unique as the next girl's. And but as a kid, if you're asking me if as a kid, you know, my parents geared me up for, you know, these stages, no, because it's really funny. My father, when I had first won my local pageant, said, I'm not too sure if I like this. I don't know if I want you going in these, you know. And
you're so artfully made up and so well made up with your tiara and your coiffure today. What do you look like first thing in the morning, Daphne?
Oh, awful.
Who's going to believe that? You believe that?
You know, I
Never.
think it's
The crew refuses. Absolutely. They say, you must be kidding.
my mom will go, oh my, go back to bed. I'm just like anybody else.
That's what you think. How about, are you a jock? Do you, U of L, they won the big basketball championship last year. They're a little up and down this year. And sports are very big in many people's lives. Are they in yours?
No, not overly. I mean, I enjoy sports because as a kid I was in sports. I was a diver, but and I like to, do as much as I can. I like to try new things, but no, not.
No. In the best sense of the word, does the University of Louisville use you? For instance, they will use like a famous graduate such as Wesley Unseld to recruit promising basketball players. Do they ever make use of you, for instance, in getting scholars or attractive young people whom they'd like to attend the university?
No, not yet. I haven't been asked to do anything like that.
Would you like to?
Yes, I would. After I won Miss Kentucky, I went to one of the vice president of intramurals and president of intramurals and these kind of people, and said, listen, I'm here.
Did you?
I said, I'm here, and I'd be more than happy to, help you if I'm a singer, if you need me, to perform for anyone. And luckily, they have used me. I didn't think they would. And I really, I like to be involved, and involved in education and in what I'm doing. That's why I am so gung-ho on this Miss America program, because it is scholarship, and it's afforded me so much
Well,
to go
I
to
do know
school.
that you do some other nice things. Recently, you were nice enough to participate with me in a cystic fibrosis benefit, and I suppose you were called upon from time to time to do
Right,
things
and I
of that
enjoy
nature.
that. I enjoy helping people.
What was your
and-
song? You
In the Miss America
yes.
program,
And how long did you practice that? One gets the impression that the dance, the song, the instrumental has been polished, and rightfully
it
so,
has.
for months ahead of time.
It has. I went into the Miss Kentucky program with a song called Bridges, and worked on that for, let's see, I won in June, and before that, I'd say about 5 months, of getting up and at least going over it 2 or 3 hours a day, sometime just doing it musically, just sitting down by the piano and on the floor and memorizing the words and the notes. And
Have there been any drawbacks whatsoever to having entered these contests and having won the Miss Kentucky contest and going to the Miss America pageant?
none that I can see.
None whatsoever?
None whatsoever. But there again, that's the person that I am. I like to take a circumstance, or whether it's a bad experience or a good experience, and make it work for me.
Yes,
And
what
so
have been the benefits then?
the benefits have been just, unreal for me. The scholarship, the use of a brand new car, every 5,000 miles
Right.
from Wade Swope, and a wardrobe. And I think the most important thing is being able to do more things, to perform more places, to meet people like you, and do things like this that I would have never been able to do, if I wasn't Miss Kentucky, or Miss Louisville, or whoever. And it just keeps going on and on.
Would you
And-
be married within the next 3 or 4 years?
Have no idea.
Would you like to be?
Yes, I think so. But I still like to keep on going. I don't think that should stop me from, pursuing a career or anything like that.
You would combine teaching perhaps with marriage and...
Yes, I also like to also pursue a performing career. Hopefully.
Oh, do you? You
the
want
door
to be a
opens.
professional singer?
Yes, I would. I think my major dream, growing up, finding out that I had a voice, that at least I could train, would be to make an album. not if, even if it wasn't heard by anybody else but me, you know, just to be able to accomplish that.
How would
be
you
something for
describe
me.
your singing style?
Oh, jeez. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think it's still growing.
You like ballads?
Yes, I think it develops each year, and I do a variety of things. My mom and I were talking about last night. She said, I was saying something about Western. I said, I don't know if I could sing a Western song, and she said, I don't know. I don't think I can hear that in your voice, but I don't know. I'd like to try.
Are you taking any dancing with it?
No, I'm not, which I'd love to. I really would, but I have 3 feet.
Well, you have enough other things going for you.
Right,
So
but I think it'd be fun.
What happens now? Will you have a letdown? Your reign is up when?
June, the end of June, beginning of July. Yeah, I think it'll be a letdown. I've enjoyed working with these girls for so long, for 3 years now, whether they were competitors or whether they were me just working with them performing-wise. That I don't think if I'm not able to work with them again, it'll be a big letdown.
Which girl?
The pageants.
The pageant girl.
And,
Have you maintained any friendships with any of the other state winners when you've met? Really?
Yes. There was 3 of us, and Miss Texas and Miss Mississippi, and we kind of bummed around in Atlantic City together. Miss Texas and I were in the same hotel, and then most of the girls, which was another thrilling thing for me, because usually you're up there and you don't get to really meet and get to know, you know, all 50 girls. But I think I did. I think I made it. I got to know pretty many, and this Christmas got tons of cards from them. And Miss America, she is a dear.
That's very nice. Daphne, I've enjoyed it. I know our viewers have.
Oh, thank you so much.
Miss Kentucky of 1980, tiara and all, from the presidential suite of the Gall House in Louisville with Daphne Cochran. I'm Milton Metz. Thank you very much for being with us.